right, you guys. We're back. We're tailgaters. I'm Bruce with Marcus, with Daryl. And you know what? We spoke about March Madness last week. Now we're down to the Final Four. We all said we'd know stuff about the Final Four. But before we go, I got another trivia question for you. Another Wayback Machine trivia question. I remember this guy when he was playing because, back then I was also in Scouts. So the answer to this guy was once on the cover of a Boy Scout magazine. So that's how far back it goes.
Wow.
Anyway, here's the question. Who has scored the most points in a March Madness game? And I'll tell you the answer at the end. I gave you some hints. Way back long ago. It's surprising, with all the three-point shooters, you'd think it'd be fresher. Anyway, think about who that is. I'll tell you in just a little bit. But let's go back now. Let's talk about March Madness. I'm going to start off, though, Texas and Purdue. I think I sent you guys a text. I thought you guys were right. You did call it. That game was close. It should have gone into overtime. But, the guy did make a good play. Jumped up for that rebound and flipped it in just at the last second. Mm-hmm. And Texas lost, Purdue won. But boy, oh boy, that was really a good game. Texas gave all they had. What'd y'all think about that game?
Like I said, from my perspective, I thought Texas, it's almost like what we've been seeing with them on the football field for the last several years. They put together really good teams, and they always get to there, but they just never cross over. But at the end of the day, they put up a valiant effort. I just think they just got outplayed, outcoached, out-rebounded, and it's tough. I know here in Texas, I know football is king, but again, Texas has put together some pretty good squads. I know they had that controversy with their coach a couple of years ago, and that was a little bit of a disruption to like that energy and that continuity that they had. But no, I was rooting for the burnt orange to come through, and it didn't happen, man. Unfortunately, I'm not getting into any brackets this year. I made a promise to myself, no brackets. I just don't want to deal with the heartache. I got enough stuff on my plate. But at the end of the day, hey, better luck next year.
Yeah, we're saying that about a lot of teams, and especially the teams that I know and love. But better luck next year. And UT. You have to admit, man, they'll be back. They'll be back. I was just looking up some information about them. It talked about their ball handling skills and their consistent shooting with high intensity. I'm like, what? Okay, that's a weird way to describe a basketball team, right? But anyway, we'll see them come back. I'm not the hater you think I am, obviously, Marcus.
I don't think you're a hater, man. You're not. It's not in your blood. You are an adoptive hater. You was adopted by a pack of haters, and so occasionally it bleeds through. But at the end of the day, it is what it is.
That took a left turn.
Yeah, whatever. He just want to be difficult with me today. That's okay. I'm used to it. I've been dealing with it for 40 years, so I can still deal with it, Daryl. Whatever you got, whatever.
Okay, next.
All right. Well, I did. I really thought UT was going to have it, but the next one I want to talk about was Duke. I don't know if you saw that game. They had it. I thought they had it. No way they could lose it. And even at the very end, I thought, okay, that was close. Y'all did a good job. Connecticut's always good, right?
Yeah.
If they win the whole thing, I think this will be like the eighth out of the last few years. So they won like one out of every four, one out of every 5 games. They are very good too. And, but still, Duke had it. They inbounded. They got it to their star player, and then guy barely tipped it. You saw the play. Goes down there. He's still that long 3-pointer. This going to make this guy live famously forever. This is like the Christian Laettner shot, isn't it? The last one like this.
God, they're kids. You got to remember that, right? They're not professionals yet. They're still kids in some regards. But that was just an errant pass. They could have just held on to the ball. I know obviously they didn't want to, risk getting put on the free throw line and possibly, UConn coming back down and having an opportunity to score. But when you're careless, especially in big moments like that, it's always going to be the little thing that you don't pay attention to detail to, right? I think I can just toss that ball over. It got tipped. I mean, man, talk about a shot. Like, you know, in sports in general, there's always going to be these scenarios where you just have this remarkable moment and just a shot or a pass and it just happens. But man, I watched that replay over and over again, and it just couldn't have been a worse scenario in terms of execution for Duke. All you had to do was get the ball in, let the clock run out, and you're golden. But no, you take a careless pass, and it took a lot of just, obviously skill, but it took a lot of luck also, right? Because I mean, that kid wasn't looking to shoot. He passed the ball, but he got it right back. He took it out he was still like not at the half court line, but between the
he was way back, like 45 feet?
He was back. He was back 25, 30 feet. So I think his coach said that was still within his range, which is incredible, the range of these players today. But man, that was an incredible ending to a game.
Yeah. Well, I don't have much to say about anything, man, because they all did better than I can do, and so shout out to all these youngsters, man. One thing I love, and I need to go back on something that I said last time that we talked was don't like college basketball, man. But you know what? When you watch these guys play, and it's coming down to the wire, the passion, the thrill, and even prior to the Elite Eight and at the beginning of the tournament, you see some of these Cinderella teams, they start winning, some of these big games, these smaller schools against the bigger schools, and you're watching them celebrate and, oh my God, I can't believe we're here. And then we won the first round, and you look at that kind of stuff and it's just really exciting, And so maybe I need to reevaluate how I feel about college basketball. I need to check some things out, pay attention next season, just to see, man, what am I really missing?
I was going to say, I kind of agree with you. It is fun to watch when they do the camera shots up in the stands. You see family members or the team, the school students, and they're like living every shot. They move and they're going with the ball, particularly the parents. It's really fun to watch them. You kind of lose some of that in the pro level, because I think a lot of times the pro level, particularly the lower end, they're all owned by corporate owners that, they're wining and dining their customers or potential customers, but so it doesn't quite have that same energy level, Yeah. I say that because my energy level's way up on the very top of the American Airlines Center. I think they're down there.
I get into men's basketball in the March Madness. That's when I pivot over. And there's several sports, and I mean, you can call me a bandwagon guy, but I don't pay rigorous attention until you get into like that playoff piece of it, just because it's just so many games. And college basketball just has such a different appeal than the pros, right? The pros, you have those marquee players, you can kind of rally behind your team. Obviously, college is, you have the alumni, are you based in the city? There's different dynamics in terms of like the fan base. And I think obviously the NBA can be obviously a lot more, faster pace. Where it's occasionally you'll have a few standout stars, but I mean the defense, you don't see as much double teaming in the college that you see in the pros, so it's a little bit of a different kind of game. But I gotta say, once you get into March Madness, especially once you get into like the Elite Eight, it becomes real fun to watch.
And they're all good players now too. All the teams are good. You're not watching the other ones that are hanging around because they have a team. But, it's got to be frustrating, like Duke and this kind. They should have paid more money to Cooper Flag. And who's the other guy that came from Duke, man? It's got to be frustrating for them to, a lot of times, have one and done on these superstar players. Hard to build those teams. And, we're saying like, oh, maybe next year. But who knows? Might not have some of those players back, particularly the superstar players. Yeah. But you're talking about, just real side issue, I just remembered. What'd you think? I see the Houston's getting the Comets back, to be playing professional basketball. I don't know if you saw that. So Houston's going to have their WNBA team back again. So maybe we'll have a Dallas rivalry with that.
Can we call?
That should be fun.
What can we call? Is Cynthia Cooper still playing?
No, I think those days are gone.
Oh
Yeah.
man, I gotta say that was the best part of the WNBA, especially being a native Houstonian, is that we got the first taste of having the Bulls in Houston for the WNBA because at the end of the day, the Comets were the female versions of the Bull. Like you
No
literally
doubt.
had,
Yeah.
you
No
know,
doubt.
you had Cynthia Cooper who was Michael Jordan, and you had was it Cheryl Swoops on the team
Cheryl
also?
Swoops.
That was kind of
Yeah.
like your Scottie Pippen, and you had the what's the young lady who passed away?
Kim Parat.
Huh?
Kim Parat.
Yeah, she passed away. That was kind of reminds me of like a Steve Kerr a little bit, right? So
Mhm.
you had that incredible team, and obviously you had like Lisa Leslie and some other big names back then. But man, I just remember those first. What they won, what the first two seasons, right? Was it the
Wasn't
first
the
two or
four,
the
wasn't
first
it
three?
four?
Yeah, I
They
think
Was
it
it?
won
was
four
four,
in a
wasn't it? I
row. They
It
think
was
it
won
was
four.
four, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's incredible. So yeah,
Why did they leave?
I don't think.
That's what I was going to ask. Man, I have no idea what happened with that.
What are you talking about in terms of why the comments went away for a while?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. Probably economics at the end of
Gotta
the
be
day,
money, I
right?
know, but
I listen. I'm going to put this on the record. Um, I understand that the NBA subsidizes the WNBA, but that doesn't mean that these ladies should be underpaid or paid a salary where they can't. They can't. And I'm not trying to say they have. They're not selling sneakers the way a Michael Jordan who did back in the day. I mean, there are things you got to take in consideration, but when you see these salaries and you got people, general managers at a Best Buy making more money than a star player in the WNBA, I think there's definitely some opportunity to reconcile. So I personally think, yeah, there are some issues. Again, I understand the league is subsidized by the NBA, but I would love to see some type of agreement where these WNBA players are paid for the work they're doing. I mean, that's why I'm so glad that young lady, what's her name, Caitlin Clark, like
yeah,
her, like I'm
she's
really
put the
glad to see the energy she's brought to the WNBA because I think it was long overdue to get some notoriety. Because you think about it, there when Cynthia Cooper was playing, she was playing Michael Jordan like numbers. She was putting up them kind of numbers. So, but you just didn't have those type of endorsements back then. Could you imagine a Cynthia Cooper back then playing today?
Right now. Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Man.
No,
So,
I agree with you. Absolutely. And and when you see all these players, these top players, they're the best in the world. All these people, they're another level of athlete, that's for sure.
oh, no doubt, no doubt.
Well, let me go back to the March Madness, though. I mean, it
Prediction?
looks like the Final Four is going to be dang close. I'm seeing that we got a bunch of ones playing each other, and really
Yep.
close ranks. We've got what do we got here? Let me look here. Let me find it here. University of Connecticut 2, Illinois 3,
Three. Yep.
Arizona 1, Michigan 1.
Yep. No, I mean, obviously you can tell that, it shows that the cream rises to the top, right? I mean, obviously there were some crazy upsets there, but teams that make it to the number one position, they're not there by accident. They're there for a reason.
So which one of those four do you think is, or let's just go with the two. Which two is going to continue on? I'll go with UConn and Michigan.
Daryl, you want to go next?
Man, I would just be guessing at this point. So, yeah, UConn, Michigan. Let's go with Bruce. He seems like he's a smart guy. Let's go with him.
Bruce is a smart guy, and I'm with you guys on the UConn piece of it. I think that momentum and that willingness to win, or that just determination to not lose, more importantly, I think it's there. But I think Arizona. I think their offensive firepower is a little better than Michigan. That's just again, I am not a guru on this. I'm not like the ultimate sports fan when it comes to college basketball, but just what I've been able to watch, I feel like I'm just gonna go with Arizona. I just think they make a better matchup. They're quick on their scoring, they can shoot, and they just play a real fast-paced game, and that's gonna make it tough for Michigan. Man, I could be wrong. So we'll come back.
Oh, of course.
You can see, but 2 against 1, I like my odds.
Yeah, going back because you're right. You never know because I had picked Duke and I thought they had it. Do you think I'm just going back to the Duke game? Just asking sometimes, did the lead make them kind of relax? It seems like that can happen. We get a good league. Teams do that. Like say pros do that all the time. They have a lead, and all of a sudden they think they have it, and they turn around. And it's like, whoa, what happened?
16, they had like a 16-point lead, 18-point
Yeah,
lead. It was like a
third
high
quarter.
double
They,
digit.
I mean, it looked like they had
high,
it.
yeah. That's crazy. That's crazy to see that type of lead, because that tells you right then there's just a breakdown. There's a breakdown in confidence, trust in themselves and in their teammates. Like to lose to on such a critical game, you're there, you're close enough to where you can almost smell a championship, and you lose that type of a
Yeah, because they probably would do. So Duke is hated and loved, I guess because they've been so successful. But there's a lot of people just don't like Duke, celebrating because they lost. But University of Connecticut's very successful, maybe more successful in this history. So what do you think? I just throwing this out, it just occurred to me. What is it about Duke that makes people not really like them?
Arrogance. I think some teams just get put on that pedestal. Some teams are just kind of like, hey, they're the favorite. They have all that pressure to be the championship or to succeed and play well. And I mean, that in itself can have a adverse effect, right? We've seen it. We've seen it happen in every sport. They're the team to beat. And it's not that they get lazy and complacent. I just think that pressure to like be the best, it just starts, because all it takes is one mistake, and then your confidence, you start to doubt yourself more, and it just snowballs from there. Like one mistake, or you let another team roll off 7 points, you start getting nervous. Think again, going back to the fact that they lost a 16, 17, 18 point lead, right? That doesn't happen by design. That's telling you they are literally dealing with all kinds of insecurities. They don't trust themselves. They don't trust their players. Their confidence is shot, and that's what happens. And so you put all that pressure on those teams, that totally can happen. Those expectations.
Well, yeah, I think that all this started with Coach K back in the late '80s, early '90s, and Coach K was a very strict, stern type coach who he went in there like what was his name, Mr. Clark on Lean on Me. He went in there like Mr. Clark. He wanted to establish a hardcore basketball team, and they started recruiting players that the average schools or the other schools they weren't recruiting. I mean, who was trying to recruit Grant Hill? Who was trying to recruit Christian Laettner? I mean, those guys weren't high in the statistics when they were looking at being recruited. However, Coach K bring people in like that, and he has a system that he has in place. This is about a system.
Yeah,
and if you play in this system, then you will be successful, and we will be successful. So it wasn't about one player being great above the others. It wasn't about creating a superstar. It was about this system winning championships. And that's just not fancy. That's not pretty, So a lot of people just didn't like that. So hey, you got this team that come out here and they're dominating all these other schools. I mean, they went out there and they were whipping some people, right? Well, who's gonna say, oh, I love Duke. I love Duke. No, it's just not the way it went. The guys had a target on their back from the very beginning because of Coach K. It was because of Coach K.
I'm with you 100% on that. Yeah, sometimes
that's a good theory. I like it.
Some teams just have an ongoing, brain like expectation. I mean, that's the same thing with Texas. Don't matter what Texas gets in terms of recruitment and who's the quarterback. The expectation is that they are going to be an elite top tier team. Some programs are just designed like that. Some for football, others for basketball. Obviously, it's Duke for basketball.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds like good answers to me. Let me give you the answer to my question.
What you got, Bruce?
Here it is, a trivia question. The question was, who has scored the most points in one March Madness game? It was way back to 1970. Austin Carr from Notre Dame. Do you remember Austin Carr? Probably not. He scored 61 points in a game. That's before the three-pointer, 61 points. And I've also brought it up, too, because once he was a Maverick. He played for a Maverick for 8 games right at the end of his career. So,
Hey, time out. Wasn't your trivia question last time about Notre Dame? What
it was. Isn't that something?
You trying to tell us something?
Yeah.
You're a Notre Dame fan now?
No. I'm not telling you. I was an Austin Carr fan. When he came out, I thought he was going to be something great, and he was good. But he went to Cleveland, and so you know what happens in Cleveland a lot of times. But anyway, I thought he was going to be great, and he was just good. So I guess he was maybe one of the guys I was rooting for through college to do good. So, nothing telling you about Notre Dame. I have stories about them that hurt really bad. But when they were playing Houston that time, and what's that quarterback's name they had that time? Joe Montana came back and beat Houston that time. Ooh, that ice! Oh, so icy. And then he came back and beat the Cowboys, that Notre Dame player. So. But Austin Carr. I liked Austin Carr.
All right. Shout out to Austin Carr.
Yeah, Austin Carr. I wonder if he remembers me. Anyway, thanks for showing up. Submit your comments down there. Subscribe, like, and share. But we'll see you next time. Have fun.
All right, guys.
Peace.